Hi there, folks. This is Tech Coach Adams. Today I'm going to be showing you how to easily assess student work in Google Classroom using the add-on for Google Sheets called Doctopus and a Chrome extension called Goobric. Here we go. Okay, so a few things you're going to need before you get started with actually assessing student work using Doctopus and Goobric is you're going to need those add-ons and extensions. So to start with, you're going to need the Doctopus add-on, which is an add-on for Google Sheets. So you can either go through Google Sheets and add an add-on, or you can just go to the Google Web Store and search for Doctopus. And you're going to need the Chrome extension called Goobric Web App Launcher. So you're going to need Goobric and Doctopus, which you can search for in the Chrome Web Store. You are also going to need a Google Classroom where you have posted an assignment which has some sort of a document attached. So I've got an assignment here called Assignment 1, and in Assignment 1 I have attached an assignment that I want, a Google Doc where I want my students to answer a question, and I'm going to mark that using Doctopus. Okay. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to have a rubric for that assignment that you've made or copied into Google Sheets. Very simple rubric with just the leveled numbers across the top, level 1, 2, 3, 4, the different criteria you're looking for in column A, and then the actual words, the descriptors for each of those levels in the rest of the grid. So assignment number 1 rubric is what I've called it. It's saved in Google Sheets in my Google Drive, and it's ready to go. So if you have all those things done, you are ready to assess the assignment using Doctopus and Goobric. Okay, so now that I'm ready to mark my student's assignment, you can see I've got some people are done, some people aren't done, but I'll show you why that doesn't really matter in a minute. But I'm ready to mark this assignment using Doctopus. So the first thing I need to do is I need to create a blank Google Sheet. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive, and I'm going to click New, and I'm going to choose Google Sheets, and I just want to create a blank spreadsheet, and that is going to be where all of my assessment, as well as links to all the student work, everything is going to run through this, because Doctopus is an add-on for Google Sheets. Okay, so once my blank spreadsheet has fully loaded, I need to now run the Doctopus add-on. So up in the top menu bar here, I'm going to go to add-ons, and since I've installed the Doctopus add-on, it's the top one of my add-ons, and I just need to click here on launch. That will open up a sidebar on the right hand side with the Doctopus add-on. First thing I'm going to want to do is I need to get rid of this yellow warning label. It pops up every time warning me that this application was created by another user, not by Google. I just need to click here on more, and I need to click dismiss. I thought if I click don't show me this warning again that it actually wouldn't show up ever again, but it seems to show up every time regardless. So it doesn't matter if I click dismiss or don't show me this warning again. I just need it out of the way because the option I'm looking for is hidden underneath it. So step 1, I want to use Doctopus 2. This is where you're going to select the mode. Now Doctopus has 2 modes. Ingest, that's their word, not mine, ingest a Google Classroom assignment, or distribute drive resources to a roster. For our purposes for assessment, I want to ingest a Google Classroom assignment. I want Doctopus to ingest or take in an assignment that I've posted in Google Classroom. So when I click on that, it's then going to search my account for the Google Classrooms that I am a teacher in, and then it'll bring me this drop-down menu where I can choose the class that I want to ingest an assignment from. So I've got my little test class here that I've made, And once I've selected the class, then I can pick the assignment. Now in this test class that I made, I've only put one assignment in. If you had more, there would be a whole list of them there. So I'm going to choose assignment 1. That's going to look for that assignment and for the work that students have handed in that assignment. And it's going to get ready for ingestion. Once it has found the assignment that I've told it I want to ingest, it is going to tell me that it found how many assignments it found, and it says it found 5 turned in files for this assignment and 2 that were not yet turned in. Now here I have an option where I can ingest or take in only the files that the students have indicated are finished by clicking turned in. If I check this box, then it'll only pull in the 5 files that the students have clicked turn in, and it'll leave the 2 files that were not yet turned in as not part of the ingestion. If I leave that unchecked, it'll pull them all in, and I can refresh that later on to get an updated set of assignments. But for now, I'm just going to leave that unchecked. But again, if you check it, you'll be able to get just the ones the students have indicated that are done. So it's up to you depending on what you want. And when I'm ready, I just click the blue button that says ingest assignment, and it will start searching for and collecting. Now you'll notice right down here in the bottom of my sheet, a new sheet has been added, and it's called ingested from CR assignment 1. So that's the new tab that has been created there where all of my student work is being added. So when I go to that, now you can see I've got a spreadsheet that has been made for me. I didn't have to make this, I didn't get ahead of time. Doctopus made this for me. It includes the name of the students in my class, the names first and last, as well as their email address if they have those. And for students, it'll show their student number. It will also include a link to their document that was attached to the assignment. So I can click on any of these links and it'll take me directly to that student's document. It'll tell me whether those students have turned in or not turned in their assignment, and the last date when that assignment was edited. And then there is some empty columns here for grade and written feedback. Those will be filled in automatically as I mark this. Now, once again, I'm not done with the toolbar on the side, but my friend, the yellow warning label has come back up. So I once again have to dismiss this so that I can then again find the button that I'm looking for, which is hidden underneath it. Now, once I've ingested the assignment, I have some options here. I can refresh the edits and counts, which will refresh the last date that the assignment was edited, and it'll refresh whether students have turned in or not. I can look for new submissions, which if I had checked the box to only ingest students that had marked their assignment as turned in, this would look for any new students who had turned in their assignment and add it to this sheet. And again, I have that option where I can search for just assignments that are turned in. Now, because I didn't check that box, I've got 2 assignments that were not turned in already. So if those students finish their work, I can refresh this and it will add those. I can also, this button for us in Durham is pretty well useless because our students do not have email, so I can't send email to them. And if I wanted to, I could add a co-teacher by sharing this. But the button I'm most interested in right now is to attach a Goobric. So I'm going to show you how to attach a rubric through the extension called Rubric. Start by clicking that button, Attach Rubric. As soon as I click that button, you can see a list of rubrics that I've used recently. So this is my attach rubric. I've got the list of ones that I've used in the past, and which is handy if there are rubrics that you use often for a continual assessment, a formative assessment of something that's ongoing. Those rubrics that you've used will come up. You can also save to libraries if you would like. But what I'm looking for is the My Drive, the last option here. So there's a few options here. If I have, like I said, already created an assignment rubric in my Google Drive, I can just click here and select it. If I don't have one and I haven't made one ahead of time, then I can actually, Goobric gives me a generic copy of a numeric rubric, which has levels 1 to 3, and I can add level 4 if I want, or a non-numeric rubric, which just gives feedback and doesn't actually assign a numeric mark to the different criteria. And it just gives me a blank, sort of a generic one with some dummy text in it that I can change for my own purposes if I want to click on either of those. It makes a copy of it in my Google Drive. But since I've made one for this assignment, I am just going to click to select a spreadsheet from your drive. That will open up a link to my Google Drive, and it'll automatically search for spreadsheets. And I need to find the one that I made for this assignment, which I called Assignment 1 Rubric. And then I just click Select. Okay. It will then bring up that rubric, give me some details about it, levels 1 to 4. The criteria are the quality of the answer, the source of support, and the quality of support. And then I've got these 3 checkboxes here. Now some of these are personal preference. If I leave this first one checked, make rubric viewable to students, it will give the students the ability to see the rubric ahead of time. If I attach this rubric to this assignment before the student even starts, then they can actually access the rubric that I'm going to use to mark it in order to check their own work against the rubric. It would be like handing the rubric out with the assignment in the beginning, which gives them something that they can check their own work on as they do the work to make sure that it satisfies the rubric before they click turn in. If I turn that off, then the students don't see the rubric until I've shared it with them after I'm done assessment. The second one allows self and peer assessment. This gives the students access to actually complete the rubric on their own using their own version of the rubric to give themselves an assessment or to do a peer assessment on somebody else if they share the document with them. The last one, again, for us in Durham is pretty well useless. Send email notifications to students. Our students don't have access to email through Google or Gmail, so that one is pointless. You can just uncheck that. The other 2 are up to you. If it's a formative thing and you want students to be able to see the rubric ahead of time, you can leave that checked. And if you want them to be able to peer edit themselves, you can check that, or you can uncheck one or the other. Once you've got the settings the way you like, click Attach Rubric, and then it says Performing Magic. This may take some time. What it's going to be doing now is attaching a script of that rubric to every single one of the documents in your classroom. So the more students that have handed in work in this assignment, the longer that this process will take. You can see it's tagging student files. I've only got 7 students in this fake class I made, so it will be adding only 7 students, and then it'll then attach it, and I can start my assessment. So a couple of things have happened automatically after I added my rubric through Goobric. First of all, my friend, the yellow warning label, has returned, so I can dismiss that again. And if underneath there tells me the name of the rubric I've attached, and if I want to change the Goobric to something else, I can do that. I also have the ability to display average scores once I have assessed people's work, and then the other buttons are the same. The other thing that's been added is a link to a Goobric link column, which was added to my spreadsheet that I had already, the ingestion. And another sheet has been added to this spreadsheet called Rubric Scores. That is currently blank because I haven't marked anything, but it will eventually have the student's name, a link to their Goobric, the timestamp, when it was submitted by, and then for each of the criteria in my rubric, it will show the score that they got and a comment that I gave them. So if I go back here, I will show you now how to start assessing student work with the Goobric. I can start with any of the students that I want, but for simplicity's sake, I'll just start at the top. So this link, the Goobric link column, says assess document, and when I hover over it, a web link shows up, and I just need to click on it. That will open up a new tab in Google Chrome, and it will bring up the student's assignment in their Google Doc, which is the type of assignment that I gave them. And it will add a interactive script to the top of that assignment where I can do my assessment. And this is the real power of the Goobric, adding on the Goobric rubric. So I can, at the bottom of the window, I can see the assignment that the student handed in. Okay, so there's the assignment where I gave them a question and asked them to answer it in the box. So I can read their response. If I want to, I can still make comments the way I have in the past. So if they have made a mistake, I can still add a comment to their spelling. And those comments can still go in the way I have done in the past. But by adding the Goobric, I now have this at the top. So this is the rubric that I added. These are my 3 pieces of criteria I'm looking for in this assignment: the quality of their answer, the source of their support, and the quality of their support. And here are the descriptions, the descriptors for each of those criteria. So when I'm reading this person's assignment, I then look at this for quality of the assignment, and I decide where on the rubric they fit. And once I decide where they fit, I just click on it. So if I think they're a level 3 for quality of answer, I click and a little 3 goes up in the box. And then I move over to their source of support. Okay, source of support, they've got 3 pieces of support, so level 3. Quality of support, I read here, what do I think they fit? Maybe a level 2 for quality of support. I come over here to the comment box. Now I have 2 options here. I can click this microphone and I can record an audio comment, which will be attached to the student's document, or I can just type a comment in here. Nice work. And I can give any type of feedback that I want. Underneath here, I have the buttons where I can go next or previous. That'll take me to the previous student or the next student. I can submit this, which will add this rubric to the student's assignment. And I've got boxes underneath here again. So also email scores. Again, students don't have access to email, so there's no point in adding that. This second box, change student from can view to can comment on submit. I want that checked if I'm putting inline comments in their assignment, because when I have them set to only view, which when they, by default, when they turn something in Google Classroom, it changes their rights for that document to can view because the teacher gets editing rights. So what that means is they won't be able to see the comments that you make in the actual document. But this automatically can change that to can comment, which gives them the ability to see your feedback that you gave them within the document itself. And auto advance means that when I click submit, it will automatically move to the next student in my class. And only add scored categories to the document, meaning if I left any of these categories blank, it would not add that row of the rubric to the document. So for purposes of what this looks like, I'm going to turn off the auto advance. It is handy to turn it on if you're flipping through a whole class set, but I kind of want to show you what this does. So when I click submit, what happens is it takes that interactive rubric that I just clicked and filled in, and it actually pastes it onto the bottom of my student's assignment. So underneath wherever they finished their writing in that assignment, it then adds this rubric rating. It says when it was marked, the date and the time. It says who marked it using our usernames, and then it gives the entire rubric. So for the quality of the answer, it shades the rubric and says their score, and the rest of the rubric will be bumped onto page 2 in this case. But again, it shades in the level of the rubric where they landed and gives them the score over there. And at the very bottom of it is the comments, whatever feedback I gave. It's all pasted onto the student assignment, so that when I go to give this back to the students or return it to them, and by giving them those canned comment rights, which I checked off, it means the students can now go in and view this assignment and see exactly what they got. When I'm ready to go to the next student, I just click next, and it automatically brings up the next student's assignment, and it brings up a blank version of the interactive rubric at the top where I can assess the next student's work. Again, simply by scrolling down, seeing what they wrote, and then marking it up here. Submit. And that's all there is to it. You go through, you do that, and what's going to happen is back in my spreadsheet, things are being updated as well. So putting the feedback on the document is great for the students, but for assessment purposes, when it comes to writing report cards or looking at our own records, this spreadsheet that was made originally has now automatically been updated. If I scroll over to the right, I now have the results of my assessment have been added to that same spreadsheet. So I've now got the parts of my rubric, the quality of answer, the criteria, so the quality of answer, sources of support, quality support, the comments that I made, and the count of how many times I have checked it. And if I go to that rubric scores sheet at the bottom, again, I have a little summary of what was in that rubric, the students that I've assessed, and the score they got in each part of the rubric, and the comments that I gave them. One suggestion I would give you before you close out of this window, or before you stop assessing, even to take a break or move on for a little while, is to make sure that you change the name of the spreadsheet. Obviously, this is Google Sheets, so it saves automatically, but Doctopus does not change the name of the spreadsheet. So if you use this multiple times and you don't change the name, you end up with a whole bunch of untitled spreadsheets in your Google Docs. So it's always a good idea to change the name of the assignment or the spreadsheet so that it matches the assignment that it is assessing. Change the name, and it's stored in your Google Drive wherever you want it to be for future use. So that's pretty well it. That's how you assess a document or an assignment in Google Classroom using Doctopus and Goobric. There are some advanced features that you might want to look into as you get more comfortable with this. Things like being able to allow student and peer and self-editing using Goobric and Doctopus. You can also you mark something numerous times, giving it back and having them fix it and send it back to you, and then you can find the average scores of the number of times that you actually marked it. But for now, this should do to get you started and hopefully get you comfortable using these programs, and hopefully speed up and help you with your online assessment of documents and assignments in Google Classroom. So I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.